All right, here we go. Special edition of KnicksFanTV Live, Knicks Weekly, the weekly recap show where we discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of the orange and blue. Returning to the show, we thought he forgot about us. Little people. But reporting from South Florida is our guy, Marc Berman of the New York Post. And we had to bring him in, man, because he's returning from vacation hot, fresh off the press with some fire. The Spida watch is on. We're tracking this Donovan Mitchell trade, and we got to talk about it, man. So hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Hit that like button, hit that share button, subscribe to the video, and let's lock in Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped, CP the Franchise, Alex Rotaro's JD Sports Talk in here. And as I said, a special guest returning. I don't even know what number this is for Marc now, man. He's just a regular. He's just a regular here. Marc Berman of the New York Post. Marc, welcome back. How's everything going?
CP, thanks so much. I was away actually 10 weeks here in South Florida, and all the talk radio is about the Miami Dolphins, not Donovan Mitchell and not the Miami Heat. So it looks like the Knicks and Donovan are destined. I don't see Miami really having the draft piece package to woo Danny Ainge. But yeah, I've been gone on a family leave in brutally hot Florida and kind of was away from the whole craziness. But once I'm back, I realize how deep the Knicks are into this.
Well, one of your latest articles stated that obviously there is a stalemate between the two sides, but, you know, what do you gather is that the chief reason, the primary reason? What is the sticking point here on this deal? Yeah,
so, I mean, we wrote this afternoon, it's not just about first-round draft picks. It's literally about unprotected first-round draft picks. Danny Ainge, not that interested in some of those conditional picks that are clearly lottery protected, and the Knicks are trying to throw them at Danny. Danny's telling the Knicks, I want 4 unprotected, and the Knicks right now aren't coming close to 4. I didn't report this, but Shams reported they've offered as much as 2. So that's a gap. And, you know, I wrote the other day, the biggest concern for the Knicks is giving up 4 unprotected first-round picks is they're going to be locked up, stuck, unable to continue to make another big trade to get this team to championship contention. But I did write they think Donovan is good enough with Jalen and perhaps RJ and Julius to get from 37 wins to 47 wins, a solid 10-game leap. But that's not championship contention.
Yeah, no question. I thought with the Brunson acquisition, they could go from 37 to say 42, and I also thought with, you know, adding Spida Mitchell to this team that they could reach 47. But as you said, you know, with the draft picks, it's a sticky situation in that they don't want to go that deep into the future, giving up first round picks, because you don't want to be stuck with nothing else to build with. What do you think of, you know, the factor, because I'm looking at this KD situation and Kyrie and a potential stalemate in Brooklyn. Are they potentially looking at a third team here to try to acquire another first round pick to try to lighten what they would have to give up to Utah?
I'm sure that is definitely something these teams are going to work toward. And perhaps maybe Julius can be part of that package. Danny wants no part of Julius Randle. As was reported again by Shams, one of the offers was Obi Toppin. And it's not like the Knicks want to give up Obi Toppin, but they really aren't thrilled about going into the season with a Julius Obi tandem. We all know that they both play power forward. Neither player is versatile enough to be a center or a small forward. They don't like them together. It's just an awkward tandem because Tom Thibodeau finally has fallen for Obi Toppin and wants to give him solid minutes this season. But with Julius on the roster, it's going to be a dilemma. But Is there a third team out there that would take Julius? I mean, perhaps. I know Sacramento was definitely interested in Julius at the deadline. But yeah, it's definitely 3 teams, 4 teams, maybe. These type of deals can take on so many shapes and sizes. But again, we might have to wait and wait and wait until the first day of training camp.
What do you, based on who you've spoken to, what do you think about, how urgent is this for Danny Ainge to move Spida Mitchell? They just have Will Hardy as a coach, 34-year-old first-year coach. How urgent do you feel? What's the sense of urgency from an Ainge standpoint to get this done?
I mean, the moment Gobert was traded, it was clear what Danny's vision was, and it wasn't with Donovan Mitchell, especially when they decided not to even consider seriously Johnnie Bryant of the Knicks as their head coach. So Will Hardy is the new head coach, looking at a long-term rebuilding plan. The Jazz have been a playoff team for many years. It's time to hit the reset button. That's not Donovan Mitchell's timetable. So it's clear that Danny has to move him, but he does have time. Again, they're not trying to win this season. They don't have a bunch of players on edge wondering if they're going to be part of this deal. The Knicks have 4 or 5 players on edge wondering if they're going to be there on day 1 of training camp, including an RJ Barrett, a Quentin Grimes, an Emmanuel Quickly, Obi. I mean, it's just a Fournier, of course, who's in France. He's playing on the national team, obviously distracted. I mean, it's not a good situation. And usually the Knicks brass, they're on vacation at this part of August. Instead, everyone is working and trying to get something done with Donovan Mitchell before training camp.
Mark, you just brought up a player that I think a lot of us on this panel and Knicks fans all over love, which is RJ Barrett. And you touched on in your article the report that Stephen A. Smith had about the Jazz being interested in acquiring RJ Barrett. You mentioned that there's some in the organization that aren't fully convinced that Barrett is worthy of a rookie max. My question for you is, it's 2 questions. One, why would, because we've heard other reports where the Jazz wouldn't want to pay RJ, right? And you're talking about rookie max, right? So why would they want to add money to the books if they're trying to tank? And I don't see RJ being a piece that would indicate that they're tanking. It seems like if you're going to sign RJ, that means you want to build now. And then 2, are you saying that if people in the front office aren't seeing RJ as a full rookie max guy, is it close to that? Where are you talking about for money wise then?
Yeah, listen, they love RJ, but $185 million is a different story. That's an all-star. They're not totally sure he's going to be an all-star, that he's going to impact winning like an all-star, like Julius did 2 years ago. The thing with RJ's season, he had a great scoring average jump, but he didn't impact winning enough. Again, a little turnover prone. The 3-point shot didn't fall enough. His 40% shooting percentage, considering the high volume of shots, is just not good enough. And his defense has to get better. He's got to become a better passer. Free throw shooting wasn't great. I mean, there are issues with RJ. But I mean, he's still someone that Tom likes. I mean, my thing the other day got a little misinterpreted that Tom doesn't like RJ. It's just he loves Quentin Grimes and thinks that maybe Quentin could be a really good fit with Jalen and Donovan. But I was told today that Tom also likes RJ for his size at the small forward position, because as we know, Donovan Jalen backcourt is just not, it lacks size, quite frankly. It's a concern. So having RJ at the 3 with his height at 6'7" is a thing that Tom really likes. But the RJ thing is still a mystery on what the Knicks are going to offer in October. Bill Duffy, the agent, he's a real tough agent, one of the top agents in the game. He's wanting the max. But Danny Ainge, if he trades for RJ, he doesn't have to give him the max. He could take it to next summer and say, get a max offer and we'll match it or not match it. Again, I was told, and I wrote this today, the player mix is not the biggest issue in this deal. I mean, they pretty much can agree on a few players, both sides. So whatever Danny decides on, pretty much the Knicks will probably agree on. It's about the unprotected first round picks.
And we're talking to Marc Berman of the New York Post. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, so I'm good. So you mentioned about the picks, right? So I'm going to ask you this question. If it doesn't matter on the players, and it seems like they're trying to keep Grimes, right? Because that's kind of the indication that you talk about Thibs loving Grimes and so forth. What does that mean for Cam Reddish then? What does that mean for him on this roster?
Well, I mean, if Danny wants Cam Reddish, he's got him. I mean, Tom Thibodeau, as we reported a long time ago, was not in favor of this trade. Cam coming off the shoulder injury and has worked very, very hard, and Tom has been impressed with Cam's work ethic and rehabbing from his torn shoulder. But Tom doesn't know enough about Cam. Unfortunately, that injury really was a killer in terms of Tom getting a chance to see what Cam is all about. Very talented player. Is he a winner? Is he a team player? Is he consistent enough? Does he work hard enough? I think Tom has enjoyed his off-season work, but he's still a bit of a mystery to Tom. The Knicks front office, a lot of their scouts still love him for all that potential and skill set that he could bring. But Cam's available. Listen, everyone's available. This isn't about a player trade. This is about a draft pick trade.
How, Leon, he's going into his third year here with this regime. How much more patience do you think, Dolan may have with him? Like, is this Mitchell trade something that you see them ultimately going all in on? Or do you think it has to be at his price?
Listen, Leon Rose makes the final decision. Dolan makes the final decision, but Tom wants this trade to happen. If you've studied Tom's history and Jeff Van Gundy's history, because Tom and Jeff are so similar, they've never been great big draft guys. They think the draft is a crapshoot. Unless you have a top 5 pick, you never know what you're going to get. So if he could get a legitimate bona fide all-star in this roster and give up some first-round picks, Tom wants to do it. We know the people in the organization that want to protect those picks like they're treasures. Brock Aller, chief strategist, his whole thing the last couple of years has been stockpiling draft picks. Stockpiling draft picks for a moment like this.
That's right.
So Tom doesn't want to waste this opportunity. But the Knicks are right now trying to save as much draft capital as they can, because in the big picture, they are worried they're going to be bankrupt and not be able to make another big trade to move it along to where they could break that championship drought.
JD, jump in here.
Piggybacking off the Tom Thibodeau influence on these negotiations, do you think that part of his motivation to want to get a deal done is he sees this as an opportunity to make the Knicks a playoff team this year? Because as we know, this is a big year for Tom. And I personally believe that the Knicks have to get off to a good start before you start to hear rumblings. Do you think that's part of it in terms of Tom may, if they don't make this move, the conversation will be, do the Knicks have enough to compete? And we saw the schedule is not an easy start to the season, Mark.
I mean, without a doubt, Tom looks at this as a way of being a definite playoff team, like a 6th place team. Right now with Jalen, they go from a non-play-in team to probably, an 8th seed, 7th seed, maybe. Who knows if they could get away from the play-in and get straight into the tournament. But Tom and other people in the organization think they become a legitimate 6th or better squad. Without Donovan, a lot will depend on Julius Randle returning to his form from 2 seasons ago. So yes, there's so much pressure. I think Tom knows if they're, well, he's gone if they're not making the play-in. If they make the play-in and get bounced right away and never make the main tournament, I think Tom could go also. But there's no doubt there's tremendous pressure on Tom Thibodeau. Obviously, there's someone waiting in the wings in Johnnie Bryant that some in the organization like as a potential successor unless they go outside. But the Johnnie Bryant thing is so interesting because he's Donovan Mitchell's guy. So even if Donovan comes to the Knicks and the Knicks have a good year but not a great year, maybe Tom's gone anyway and Johnnie Bryant takes over.
Yeah, it's interesting because, his name did come up with the Utah Jazz opening, but it was never confirmed whether or not he had interviewed for the job. There were other openings in the league. His name never really came up. So I'm curious has the organization kind of been holding him back? Has he been declining? Because it just seems like he's kind of just waiting in the wings.
No, the Knicks would not decline Johnnie Bryant. They've been very good with Mike Woodson, letting him interview at Indiana, and Kenny Payne with Louisville. I know this is an NBA job, but you don't hold back an assistant coach who's never been a head coach before from interviewing. Before I went on leave, I wrote, if Johnnie Bryant gets this job in Utah, no good for the Knicks. That ends the Knicks' hopes of Donovan wanting out of Utah. But it didn't happen. And Danny went to work in trading Rudy, and now he's definitely going to trade Donovan, hopefully sooner than later.
So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We're talking to Marc Berman of the New York Post. Let's take a quick call from the phones. Let's go to Roger in New York. Roger, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing amazing, CP. How's it going, Alex? Thank you, Mark. You guys are amazing, and I've been a lifelong Knicks fan, but this content, man, you guys have made me so happy.
Appreciate it.
With the constant updates, and appreciate you guys. I just wanted to throw this out there, and listen, I'm a Westchester guy, Donovan Mitchell, love Spida, but in hindsight, right, we traded Cam, we traded a pick for Cam that Atlanta ultimately flipped for Devontae Murray, and that type of big guard, defensive-minded guard, I thought it would have been a great fit with Thibs and next to Brunson, and we would have probably not having to give up Obi because that really hurts. I see the evolution of Obi Toppin. I mean, this summer working out, and he's good. He's a good prospect, and it sucks, man. We're gonna have to give up one of these young guys. But I want to see how you guys feel about that. I mean, if we had a chance to go back in time, would you guys be happy with keeping our three studs and adding a Devontae Murray for just the picks instead of a Donovan Mitchell, or do you guys feel Donovan Mitchell is that much better?
Yeah, I appreciate the call, man. Well, I mean, you could certainly make a case for Murray being a better fit with a Brunson, just based on obviously his defensive prowess, his ability to play in the passing lanes, his length, his athleticism, no question about it. But it's also questionable adding another guy, an efficient shooter, with an RJ Barrett and a Julius Randle on this team as well. So it's kind of a tricky fit in that light. JD is the Cam Reddish Hive president. So JD, I'll let you attack the Cam question from Roger from New York.
I lost some audio. What was his Cam question specifically?
Well, basically, he was just saying, is it a mistake to basically have him on the block? And should we be implementing him with this young core and utilizing his skill sets?
I mean, I think they should, because there was a reason why they made the move. And it was one of those things that, I think after they made the move, there was some disconnect as to what was the actual plan to get him some playing time, because, as we saw the result of it, now you leave yourself questioning what was the point. And it doesn't seem to be, based on reports, that it's not like he doesn't have a market. We've heard a lot of rumors about maybe the Pistons, maybe the Lakers having interest. So Cam still has some interest around the league, but he also has a big question mark. I think the biggest question mark around the league is, what is he worth? He's entering a contract year. And I think, from a business standpoint, he wants to play. And this is something that the Knicks are going to have to figure out. I do think it's interesting that the offer today reported does not have Cam there. Very interesting in my opinion, because if they're going to move Obi, then now you look at that Knicks personnel and do they play some small ball behind Julius Randle and maybe have, Cam Reddish as a 3 or a 4, play a little bit more of a flexible lineup. I think part of, if they make a Donovan move and you have Julius here, is you're going to have to be flexible, and Tom is going to have to be creative with some of these lineups, because there may be a transition period to start the season with Brunson. There's going to be questions between Brunson and Donovan to start, but then now we're adding Julius to the equation. So it's a lot of figuring out to do. I think having a fast and athletic bench, potentially with IQ, Grimes, and Cam, could be of benefit to this team. So I'm interested to see what the eventual plan is, but I think they should look to give Cam an opportunity, if not only to then trade him at the deadline and get some, equal return value for him.
I mean, Mark, it just seemed like it was a disconnect with the Cam trade. I mean, was it something where they just felt like, the cost was so low that they take a flyer on him, even though Thibs really had no plan for him? Because I'm looking at this rotation now, even if you don't make a Donovan Mitchell trade, I'm looking at a 10-man rotation that has Quentin Grimes at the 3 and not Cam Reddish. So I still look at him as an odd man out of a 10-man rotation.
Yeah, there was a disconnect. Knicks front office felt that it was too good to pass up. We were giving up nothing. Kevin Knox was not a Tom Thibodeau player anyway. They knew Tom didn't really want to do the trade, but they figured Tom would at least give him a chance, and he would have down the stretch. I mean, the Knicks were out of it. He was playing Jericho Sims. He was playing everybody. So Cam would have gotten that opportunity. Too bad he got hurt. The fact that he wasn't in that reported offer, though, is not a reflection of the Knicks as much as Danny Ainge. I think the Knicks know the prospects that Danny likes, and I have a feeling that Cam is not very high on Danny Ainge's list more than anything. And I think they're giving up in Obi their best young player. So, but yeah, listen, Cam Reddish may have a future in this league. I would be shocked if it's for Tom Thibodeau. Not shocked, but I'd be a little surprised if it's for Tom Thibodeau.
Same here. Final questions, Alex.
Yo, Mark, question for you. You said, like, in, I guess, Saturday's report, right, that Danny Ainge was trying to stir up some trades amongst other teams to create a bidding war. He hasn't been successful with that. And then today you talked about it's all about the picks, not really about the players. So it kind of seems like a deal is close. Is that what you're getting from this? Or should we expect Donovan Mitchell to be a New York Knick for this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I feel like it's the Knicks versus the Jazz, and maybe a third team could swoop in and make this deal happen. But right now, it's very difficult for Ainge to negotiate with the Knicks when he doesn't have another team to go to. Now, sure enough, in 2 days, Utah is going to probably leak something that, some other team has stepped up, or maybe the Heat even. But, the Heat don't have the draft picks. And from my understanding, that's what Danny cares about. He cares about the draft picks. He wants to create that thing he did in Boston, recreate it. So I think the Knicks are in good shape, and that's why Leon could play poker right now. He could play hardball because he knows he's not really bidding against any significant team at this moment.
Final question, JD.
Mark, in the end, right? Two-part question. In the end, what player ends up being the young player that goes out? Obviously, in your guess. And then opening night, what is your prediction starting lineup for the New York Knicks in Memphis? What young player ends up going out? And to cap it off, what's our starting lineup opening night?
Right. Listen, I know that there's been some rumblings the Knicks won't give up Quentin Grimes, but if Danny really wants Quentin Grimes, and then maybe they could protect one of their unprotected picks, maybe he's the guy. I know Tom loves him, but he's also hard-pressed to break into a starting lineup when Donovan and Jalen Brunson are the backcourt, and Grimes doesn't have the length like RJ to be able to easily play the three. So maybe the Knicks finally say, all right, take Grimes, just take less of our unprotected picks. So if RJ is not in this deal, you got a pretty snazzy starting five in Memphis when you have Jalen, Donovan, RJ Barrett at the 3, Julius Randle at the 4, and Mitchell Robinson at the 5, even if Obi and Quentin are the 2 young players in the deal. And again, it's only 2 unprotected picks. That's a nice starting 5 on paper. Whether, they're all 3 ball dominant left-handers and Donovan is a ball dominant player. Someone told me today, listen, if that's our starting 5, Knicks fans have to be patient for October and early November, because it's going to take a little time for that fivesome to get, that quintet to get that chemistry. If you remember last season, the Knicks really struggled with their starting 5 when Kemba Walker and Fournier came aboard. Obviously, Fournier would be part of the package. I think Danny Ainge realizes, obviously, he's got to take a big contract back. And Fournier's it's not a max, and he's giving up Mitchell's gigantic contract. So it looks like Fournier is a goner with Donovan coming over to take over the starting shooting guard.
Yeah, well, hopefully they could obtain some shooting in return, because losing Fournier would be big from a shooting standpoint. But Mark, definitely appreciate the time. Welcome back, and thanks for not forgetting about the little guys, man. I've been seeing you all over the place.
You guys are big. What are you talking about?
Because I've been seeing you all over the place, man. You're making appearances here, everywhere.
Well,
my guy Dexter Henry on
for
XNY. You weren't returning my DMs. It was a little bit slow to come back. You're getting Hollywood on us, Mark, but I'm just glad you didn't forget about us.
You guys aren't the little guys anymore. You guys have risen to a very, very strong place, and I should congratulate all you guys for the hard work you guys have put in.
Appreciate it, man. So we'll keep watching, and if anything goes down, hopefully we can bring you back on. But thanks again for the time.
Guys, thanks so much. I really enjoyed it, and good luck. And hopefully this thing won't last another month, but who knows? It might.
Just
looking forward to your articles this season, Mervin.
Looking forward to it, man. Thanks again. That was Marc Berman of the New York Post. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. We're gonna take some calls, reset the system a little bit. What you guys think, man? Spida Mitchell to NY. Is it happening? What do you guys think? Leave us some comments in the chat. Call us up. 657-383-1509 is the number to call. Or you could hit us up on the KnicksFanTV Discord. Very crispy audio. Remember that this show is presented by Manscaped, fellas. Go out there. Go to manscaped.com. Enter promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. Okay. Let me just reset the phones. Mark, thanks again.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to leave now.
All right. Okay, so we got Berman. Let me make sure how the screen's looking. Boom, perfect. All right, fellas, you guys are up and running. Al, some thoughts, man. Give me some thoughts, man.
Ooh. We're about to get, it seems like Berman's confident that we're about to get Donovan Mitchell in the orange and blue. So there's no true bidding war from what he sees between, he was just down there in Miami. They weren't even talking about it.
Yeah.
As he told us, before we went live. So they're not talking about that. Talking about Dolphins down there. He doesn't believe that the Heat have the draft assets to intrigue Danny Ainge. I don't see it either. So it seems like this is all coming down to picks, as he wrote about, right? Are we giving up 4 unprotected, 3 unprotected?
We can still afford to give the most, given that, right? It could be a combination of 3 protecteds, 3 unprotected. Right? Maybe there's some swaps in there, even though the swaps I don't think would be very valuable because the Jazz are going to be a lottery team. But I mean, you when you're looking at the protecteds, you have the Dallas pick, you have the Detroit pick, Washington. Those are all 2023, and you have the Milwaukee pick in 2025. They just got to be careful. They can't go that deep into the future, or else you're handcuffed. So you got to sell Ainge on, 3 unprotected? Or you going 23, 25, 27? That's kind of steep.
It is, Steve. I'd want 27 to be protected. In all honesty, the first 2 could be protected because you got to think you don't know what the future is going to hold for this team. You don't know what's going to happen. Also, I mean, for Ainge, if you want to sell him where the protections don't even matter, it's that look, man, we're going to have Donovan Mitchell here for a while. Probably going to extend him too if you make that trade. We're going to be winning for a bit. I don't see what that value is. So you could probably even talk him down, saying, we're going to be, we're going to be probably in the 20s, late 20s. What's that value to you? Why does it even matter if it's protected? You can still get it. It's just insurance for us.
I mean, I think in the end, you see, I think it's interesting. Today we got a report of an actual offer, right? Like this is, there's been a lot of speculation, legitimate reports about conversations and interest and, the likelihood of this happening or that happening. But today we actually got some type of a framework deal to look at and say, okay, this is more or less where they're at. And I think when you see Berman's article saying 4 that Danny Ainge wants, you see Shams' article says that the Knicks offer 2. You guys know how it is, man. When you try to buy on Facebook Marketplace or you try to buy on OfferUp or one of these apps, right? You know what you want to sell it for, but you're gonna give a certain price, and you say to yourself, "This is where I think it's gonna go."
So you're saying 3 picks?
I think you got to meet in the middle, right? So I think in the end, it's gonna have to be probably 3 unprotected picks. And when you look at the framework, we know Fournier has to be a part of the deal, right? And then only 1 young player. Now, I think the interesting part of the offer today is added salary was added to it. If you look at the framework now, that deal could not happen. So you have to add probably a deuce. Technically, you could add IQ, but I don't think IQ or Cam would qualify as added salary. I think they would have been reported by Shams as additional pieces. So Fournier and Obi, you can't do that deal. If you add an IQ or deuce salary, the deal works, which tells me if this was in fact to be adjusted to a 3rd unprotected, then you're probably looking at deuce also going out as a salary filler. And I think once, these things, when it gets reported that way, I think it's getting close. Because again, this is the first time we actually have gotten an actual offer reported from Shams.
Hey, I mean, if it's deuce, he wasn't going to play anyway. But they're keeping Grimes. That's what I got from all this. I've been right all along. You gotta keep Quentin Grimes in here. I'm selling real estate
takes?
on
Quentin
Grimes Island. That's all I'm saying.
Hold on one second. Berman's article on Saturday. What 7 players were mentioned? I didn't see Grimes, nor did I see Obi. I saw Emmanuel quickly in there.
Yeah,
I saw Emmanuel quickly in there.
What did it say in the paragraph before that? They said they give up RJ before they gave up Grimes, which I think is kind of crazy. I wouldn't do that. That's crazy. That's kind of crazy. But what about the RJ thing though? Because here it is. I'm thinking they would
tread lightly.
Want to be the face of the franchise. Give him a reasonable rookie extension. But it seems like if Ainge is willing to take RJ and it would cost the Knicks less than draft capital, it doesn't seem like it's an untouchable situation.
That's rough, man. I'm not going to lie. You're talking about the highest draft pick, the closest thing to a highest draft pick since Pat Ewing. So, you can't. That's kind of tough to sell the fan base saying, hey, this guy that we've been selling you, preaching, patience for, we're going to trade him now for Donovan Mitchell. That says a lot. A lot about honestly, to me, it would even say the faith that they have in RJ and what they see his potential as being a 3rd overall pick to a certain degree. That means you don't even think that he's close to being all-star caliber, like even 1 all-star appearance type caliber appearance, let alone a solid role player. That's where I start to question, you don't just trade guys that you invested so much time into that you see and actually shoot 40% from 3 one season, took 5% back, from 3, but still he has more work to his game. You see that he also brings a character to this team that we need, someone who consistently grinds. You can't. That's stuff that you cannot replace. Sure, Donovan Mitchell is that guy as well, but having more of those guys who will just get down to business and work, that's a lot, man. In my opinion, that's a lot to give up.
You're playing with fire, trying to potentially give up an RJ. It would be interesting if Ainge would just say, you know what, because what if you get to a point where the Knicks really they're not budget, like it's too unprotected and it's one player. Does Ainge say, you know what, that's just not good enough for me? And then he says, well, give me RJ and give me 2 unprotected. What do the Knicks do? Berman just said that, it's not up to the players. It's a, draft pick situation. I still find it hard to believe that the Knicks would do that. I actually think when this deal goes down, that RJ has a lot of pressure on him. And a lot of people have thought that, the extension is going to come before the season. I think if they make this move, the Knicks go all the way with it to the deadline, till the end, because, listen, you have to see how this works out, right? We talk about how do you get the next guy? We talk about retaining enough assets to be able to get someone else. Guess what? Donovan Mitchell comes to this team. He is the main focal point right now of this team in terms of how do we become a championship contender. That will be the next step. And RJ has to prove himself to be a legitimate piece of that puzzle. Yeah. And I think that'll be a good motivator for him. I think he would rise to the occasion, but I just think from a business standpoint, that's just the route that the Knicks are going to take, just because you also want to see how does Jalen Brunson, Mitchell, and RJ, because once you pay RJ, you better have draft picks or you better have other different ways to add to the roster, because from a salary cap standpoint, you're not going to be able to bring free agents here.
Gotcha.
So you have to make sure that this works.
So to add on, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and to add on to JD's point, like pressure on RJ, this would be probably the best lineup he's ever played with, right? You have a top scorer in Donovan Mitchell. You got a not top point guard, but like you got a really good point guard and Jalen Brunson who could shoot, score anywhere. So there's no, we talk about his inefficiencies, and that's because of the guys he's been surrounded with, right? And how they haven't been able to get him the ball that much. But now if you're going to be inserted into this type of rotation, you got to play efficiently and effectively whenever you get your touches. So JD's right. It comes down to it's a lot of pressure for RJ if this is going to be the rotation that you're going to see opening night.
So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. CP Alex, JD on the ones and twos. You just missed Marc Berman from the New York Post. Had a great interview with Mark, man, returning to the show. Make sure you guys check that out. Salute to the rhyme animal, Chuck D. Everybody throw a hashtag PE in the chat. He says, thank the ball gods for KFTV, CP Alex, JD, and the other Knick pods because I can no longer watch major media news about us. Big ups, Mark B. Salute to Chuck. Always appreciate the support. We are just about a month away from opening night, man. Knicks versus the Memphis Grizzlies. So looking forward to that. Preseason starting up on October 4th. So we're right around the corner, man. Things are just about to get it going. Junior Karoma $5 Super Chat says RJ is untouchable. Okay. Shout out to Junior. We got a $10 Super Chat in from Eric Ward. He says, get him at our price or don't get him at all. Ainge isn't negotiating. He's demanding what he wants. Never enter a business transaction that you can't walk away from, and we can definitely walk away. Well, time will tell. We can, but will Leon make that move? That's what I did ask Berman. How desperate will he get? Right now, yeah, he's playing it well. He's playing it cool. He's playing his hand well, right? He's not being too desperate in terms of relenting and giving up those picks. But I gotta see, man. Is he ready? Is he built to walk away from this thing and build it patiently?
Here's my thing about this, right? Everyone's been giving Ainge all the credit, right? He's the mastermind, the ego, the history. But what if this is actually the first time that Ainge just can't control the situation? He can't control what he can get back. And the reason I say that is, what other offer is there on the table? Right? And now, if this was a player situation, a Kevin Durant situation, yes, I would be scared if I'm the Knicks, right? Because if the Celtics decide to give up Jaylen Brown, a few players, they can get that deal done. Like there's, the Nets are looking for players. The Jazz are looking for picks. So even if we go into the season and Ainge tries to outsmart the Knicks, okay, fine, let's go into the season. Okay, how is that going to change the Wizards getting more picks? Like, how are teams that don't have the draft capital all of a sudden are going to acquire additional first-round picks? Like how can that situation change? The Knicks have the picks. They go into the season, those picks will be there in October. They'll be there in November. They'll be there in December. So I think that, when you look at that and you look at all these leaks and the Jazz reporters, I just think Ainge is really doing everything that he can to actually get the Knicks to bite. And I actually think Leon has so far played it well. People like talk about that Celtics situation. Guess Billy King, the Nets were desperate to make a move. That's why he was able to finesse. But the Knicks, they cannot get desperate, in my opinion. If they do, yes, Ainge will get everything that he wants. But if you don't, what if Danny Ainge is the one that becomes desperate and says, all right, let's just make a deal? Because at this point, you report Donovan Mitchell so much. How can anyone tell me Donovan Mitchell will be a Jazz in 2 years? He's not.
No.
There's just no way.
No question.
And there's no way he's going to resign there. So a trade has to happen at some point. So I just want to, I just wanted to point that out. I don't think Ainge has as much. I think the media is creating this. But I think when you really look at the situation, it's right in the middle where he has as much leverage as the Knicks have. And when you're right in the middle, guess what? You got to come to a compromise. So I think in the end, Ainge will also have to compromise how many unprotected picks he wants. And the Knicks are going to have to compromise that they may have to give up one more.
Probably going to have to go on more. Yeah, it's a good point. Al.
Yeah, I would just say, to add on to that, like, if the Knicks are looking at it, right, they just say, all right, you don't want to trade him now? Go into training camp with him. Because now you're just going to keep dwindling the price, because now we just know no one else can trade for him. It's just to what JD said, right? Like, it's the Knicks don't have to be desperate at this point. They literally don't. You can walk into the season without Donovan Mitchell, and I still think the fan base would be excited to watch the young guys grow, because that's another thing that this fan base is like, let's see the young guys develop. Let's see what Quentin Grimes can do before we get it. Let's see what Emmanuel quickly can do. Just give these guys. We were preaching for more time for these guys last season. If you go into this season with the young guys getting more time, it's already a win for part of the fan base, because now we get to know, like, maybe these guys are even better. Maybe we're selling them too low. Maybe they could be actually worth even more, right? And that could work to Ainge's detriment. Now you say, oh my God, Quentin Grimes is actually good, better than what I could imagine, right? I can't even get all the picks now, because now the Knicks come back and say, well, why are we gonna give you even more picks for a guy that clearly no one else wants to trade for? And now our guys are getting better. That's just a scenario that, if I'm Ainge, I don't want Donovan Mitchell on my team once training camp starts. Because then it's just like the value just keeps getting knocked down every single day. So to JD's point, like, Knicks don't have to be desperate. They are actually in control in this situation. Look, we had reports saying the Atlanta Hawks were interested in trading for. What picks do they have?
And KD, I saw one proposal today.
Ooh.
That was a John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, and a pick,
and one pick, and one pick. And that was a Shams report. So that's an actual offer. Yeah. One pick. And people want to tell me that, the Knicks have competition. What competition? You got one pick for Kevin Durant.
God. All right, let's get to the
John Collins,
phones.
who they've been shopping, and DeAndre Hunter, who's not even better than RJ. I mean, come on. Let's not outsmart ourselves here.
Let's get to the phones. Nick from New Jersey. Nick, how you feeling?
I'm good. I'm really enjoying the show tonight. I'm just feeling hyped up right now.
Let's go, Nick. Turn it up. Let's go.
Let's go.
Jumping out the window?
I have 2 points I want to get across. So first off,
Yeah.
you did the Linda Cohn interview a while ago. I just want to say I really liked that interview.
Appreciate
And
it.
2 questions I had with that, more New York sports questions, are who do you think the best athlete, New York athlete from 2010 to 2020 was? In my I'm a diehard Rangers fan, so I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say Henrik Lundqvist. And then I guess the current best New York athlete, who do you guys think it is? In my opinion, I'm being biased again, Igor Shesterkin. I mean, 3-1 down in his first playoff round, and then coming back, and then conference finals.
Yeah.
And then now I'm going to talk about Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
Do you think that, like you guys have said, the more that it goes on, Mitchell not getting traded, I guess the value decreases. Do you think the Jazz would take the offer that was reported today, plus Quentin Grimes, as of right now? And then another question I have is, do you think that Donovan Mitchell just potentially requests a trade within the next, I don't know, few days, potentially weeks before training camp? I feel like that really hasn't been said, a trade request, but I feel like it could be possible. And those are my questions. I'm just really enjoying this show so far.
Thanks, man. Nick from New Jersey, turning up, man. Big fan of the show. Look, in terms of Spida Mitchell, he's been playing a professional. I think his
Has he? He's
he
all over
has.
New York.
I think he's played it well.
I agree, but
I think he's played it well.
It's funny the way he's doing.
Yeah, I think he's played it well. He's showing you that he wants to be traded to the Knicks. But he hasn't come in. He's not being a baby like Kevin Durant and Kyrie. Trade me. I can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? I think he's showing it in different ways by showing up everywhere. But he hasn't officially done it, and I don't think he will. You know what I mean? I think it's just known that the Jazz want to trade him. He doesn't have to make a request.
I think if it goes on long enough where it's getting a little ridiculous, if he's going into the season, it's a month or two in, and he's playing with legitimately nobody's on the Utah Jazz, and they're just losing night in and night out. It's gonna be come on, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna get this done or what? I'm not gonna stay here. I just campaigned my entire self being in New York this entire summer. I was at a Brooklyn Cyclones game, for crying out loud. Get me over there already. I feel like it can only last for so long until Donovan actually says something. That's why I think Danny Ainge has to do something before training camp.
Now,
I personally think they've already had that conversation. I think Ainge has. I'm not gonna say promised him a trade, but I think Ainge has told him you're most likely gonna be a Knick. Let us take care of these negotiations. You just help us out on your end in terms of so that we can get. I just think Donovan is doing this also for the Utah Jazz. I think Dame would do something similar in terms of if they agree to something, they'll do it behind closed doors, and you're just looking out for the organization that drafted you, and when you likely know what's going to happen, right? So I just think he knows he's likely going to be moved. There's no real sense to ask for a trade. I think they have been having conversations behind closed doors. I mean, how can Utah not be upset if they didn't? And Donovan's doing all this stuff in New York. I mean, if Donovan was a free agent, the Knicks might get definitely they're going to be tampering charges. Yeah. But obviously you can't do that because he's under contract. So I think, I just think that behind closed doors, some things just never get reported in business. And I just personally believe that this is one of those situations where they have talked. I mean, how could they not talk with all these reports nonstop by, legitimate sources with Woj and Shams. And I just think that, Donovan is just going to be professional to the end, knowing that he's going to be traded soon.
And in terms of question, as time goes by, would the Jazz settle for the Knicks trade? And the Knicks proposal, from what Shams was saying, was basically Fournier, Obi, but the draft parameters were 2 unprotecteds plus 3 of the protecteds. Would they settle for that? You just never know, man. I know Berman's saying Miami's out of it, or Miami's not really being considered. But in a 3-team trade, they're able to acquire some more picks. You got Tyler Hero as part of a package. Don't sleep. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not sleeping on Miami. I'm not counting them out. I never count them out. We've seen it before in history.
So you're saying they would then use Tyler Hero as a way to get picks and reroute that
No, well, I don't know. I think Tyler Hero would be part of the main deal going to Miami, going to Utah. But I'm saying if Miami can execute a 3-team trade where they're able to acquire more picks to send to Utah, just like we're saying with the Knicks in terms of trying to get the Lakers involved so that they can spend less of their own draft capital and use one of the Lakers picks. Hey, who's saying Miami can't do that? All I'm saying is don't sleep.
I don't even know if Ainge wants Tyler Hero, to be honest. I don't know that Ainge wants anybody that's not a legitimate young star that's in a contract like that. I just don't know that Ainge is interested in that. It just sounds like he wants to, do a Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum 2.0 type situation, and he's only interested in, just getting as much unprotected pick situations as possible. And so if that's the case, and again, like I always say, don't sleep on the reason why this offer was leaked. And when you look at the offer, there's only one young player in that deal. In the end, it may be 2 with one more unprotected pick, but I think there was a reason why this was reported today. It could be Ainge also just showing the world, hey, this is what it is right now. From this offer, I'm only going to be able to get a little bit more. Sometimes these things also happen for PR situations. Sometimes it's a franchise beginning to sell their fan base on what's to come. And there's a reason why these things happen. But I don't know. I mean, I guess you can say that, CP, if this goes into the season, you're taking the risk that Miami has a slow start or something happens and then some team gets desperate and goes to Utah and says, all right, let's see what we can do. If that's the case, again, because other teams don't have the draft picks, you're looking now at a more complicated deal. Miami, maybe, I don't know, Washington or whoever else comes about may have to now add a 3rd or even a 4th team to give Utah what they want. And I think that's why they're motivated with the Knicks. You don't have to do that with the Knicks. The Knicks have everything you want right now. It's just about coming to a happy medium.
Now, his other question was the best athlete in New York from 2010 to 2020. I mean, all my teams were hot garbage from that time, so I don't have a dog in the race. He's going high. He went hockey twice, 2010 and 2020. I mean, Giants is out of it.
Wait, you're saying Danny Jones is not?
Jesus, man. God help us, man. God help us.
2010 and 2020.
I mean,
Aaron Judge.
Odell Beckham.
I'll go. I mean, Odell wasn't really here for that long. Yeah.
But I mean, even for the 2 years he was here.
You want to go Melo?
Melo, that would be that. That's
you want to go Melo? 3 playoff series.
I mean, to me, in terms of if you want to, that's what I say. If you want to look at even a few seasons, to me, the most dominant, probably Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah, well, I don't watch the Mets, so I don't really care. Everybody in the chat's like, DeGrom, duh. I don't watch the Mets. I have no idea what he does on a nightly basis. Good for him if he's that good. Are the Yankees winning right now? That's what I want to know. Let me turn the game on right now. People want to talk about
Someone said
DeGrom.
Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut is the answer. All right, so you want to go DeGrom? Okay, we could go DeGrom. And then right now, I don't know. You want to go Judge?
Oh, Judge is different.
Oh,
he had a home run tonight.
He did? Yeah, he did. He did.
Mm-hmm. But if Donovan Mitchell becomes a Knick, might be a different story.
Might be a different story.
The Knicks win 50 games.
Yeah, that might be a different story. I mean, yeah, you know what? Yeah, no. I mean, in all fairness, you could say DeGrom. I mean, the Mets did go to the World Series during that time, right? When they go, 2017. When the Mets go to the World Series, 2017.
It was 20.
What about Eli?
Was it 2015? I thought it was 2015. They did that.
Eli. I mean, we did get the chip in 2011.
2011.
Yeah, I'm going.
It was on the downside,
right?
Like right at the peak, right at the end.
Right. I would jump out the window for Eli, but that would be from like 2000 to 2010. You know what I'm saying?
Do we count the Buffalo Bills?
No.
Wow.
2011. Somebody JT said actually it's Josh Allen. All right. Pete Alonso. All right, good laughs. All right, back to the phones. Let me queue up some people here. Let's go rapid fire, people. I I see Baus on the Discord. We're going to queue up Baus and go back to the phones. Let's go to Nebraska. Joe from Nebraska is back. Joe, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, man?
How you feeling, bro?
Hey, can I say two things real quick?
Hey, man, you have the floor, sir. Let's go.
I thought you were going to Baus from the Discord. So
Nah,
sorry
we're just
about
queuing
that,
him up.
but,
We're just queuing him up.
No, I got you. All right. So number one is in that Berman report. I mean, I thought that was kind of crazy, first of all, and then I won't even get into the RJ stuff at all. But point number two is on this Miami deal that you keep bringing up about us snoozing on that. It's like, why would any GM want an unprotected pick from the Heat? I mean, that's basically the 25th to 30th pick. I mean, yeah, it's quote unquote unprotected, but it's basically protected by their competence as an organization. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. Why
would they want that?
All I'm saying is if the Knicks aren't prepared to pony up, it's the same thing. The Knicks would give up what, 2 unprotected, and they're offering what, 3 protected picks? I mean, the protecteds don't have that much value. I get what you're saying. The Miami ones, they would be lower picks. All I'm saying is I wouldn't count them out.
CP, I'm getting the sense you getting a little desperate.
I'm not getting desperate.
You getting a little shook.
Yeah.
Getting a little shook.
Listen.
I think you would give up the 4 picks. I think you would give up the 4 unprotected if it came down to it.
Listen, man.
He'd probably throw in IQ, Grimes, Obi, Deuce. Give up the whole young farm
man,
too.
You gotta pay to play out here, bro. We need talent. That's all I'm saying. We need talent, man. We need talent. Go ahead, Joe. You had 2 points, right?
Oh yeah. One other thing is why would the organization take anything that Tom Thibodeau says about the future like into account? Because obviously he's going to want to do a win now move, by any means, because he's a win now guy. He has to win. But it's like their job is to plan for the future. So why is his influence like worth anything? He might be gone by the All-Star break.
I mean, that's fair, but I mean, you also got to. I also got to think that Leon Rose is also motivated to try to build something to win now, right? That's why he was brought in, not necessarily win right now, but to put a team that can compete, that can be respectable. You just don't know with Dolan, man. How much patience does Dolan have for this quote unquote true rebuild? You know what I mean?
Well, it seems like Dolan has more patience than you, CP.
Listen, man, I've been doing this for a while, man. I'm trying to get some talent in here, Joe. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get some talent. Very appreciate the call, man. Listen, I'm trying to get some talent, man. We get Spida in here. The post game show goes up another notch, man. We got some excitement coming in here, bro.
CP's just ready to throw Obi in a trade, so he doesn't have to talk about the dud pick anymore.
Listen,
CP's thinking about the algorithm.
Listen, man. I mean, you gotta think of it. We do this on a nightly basis, right? Make it worth my time, you know. Make it worth.
You can't take another Randall after every night.
Yeah,
season.
Look, man. Like I said, I get it. He on the outside looking in, but you never know, man. Everybody's talking about, it's a Knicks, it's a 2-team race. Like I said, you just never know, man. You just never know in this game. I wouldn't be resting on the fact that it's a 2-team race. I wouldn't be resting on it.
Are you guys not surprised that? I mean, the report is the Knicks offer. So that means that Brock Aller, because I think Brock Aller is the one that's actually making these phone calls. I think Leon's just chilling in the back and like just getting the like a president, you get the debriefs and then you make the decision. I think the Knicks made the offer is what the report is. So the Knicks offering Obi. Y'all not surprised by that?
Are we surprised that the Knicks? You're asking the wrong guy on this one. Asking the wrong guy on this one.
Let me turn the volume down on my mic.
Now, I'm thinking maybe the reason that maybe they're looking at it as they feel Obi in negotiations. Maybe, okay, so we'll give you Obi, so now we'll go 2 unprotected. Whereas maybe if you give up, Grimes, maybe you have to give more. You know, kind of like the same with RJ, where you would think if RJ's in the deal, you don't have to give up that many unprotected picks. I can only think of either that or, as Marc Berman mentioned, the Knicks are motivated to really find a conclusion here between Julius Randle and Obi, because the thing we haven't talked about is if Obi does go, you guys know what this means. They're committing to Julius Randle for at least half a season. That's interesting.
I mean, that is their guy, right? Like we heard the whole Woj pod where Randall sat down with Leon, Wes, Peyton, and they talked about what do you need to be successful. So I wouldn't be surprised that this front office would want to give Randall as many opportunities as he can to succeed. And if it means giving up Obi, you know, in this scenario, it's not a shocker. I wouldn't like it because I think Obi would be the best fit with what you're trying to do with that starting unit. If you need someone to be playing off ball and someone who's leaking out in transition, but I wouldn't be surprised. And I don't feel happy to say that.
and I say that because I know, you know, I said they'll at least be committed to half a season. And I guess the counter to that, you don't.
Is he going to play well?
No, what I'm saying is, do you guys see a scenario where in the same offseason, they trade for Donovan Mitchell next week, and let's say Obi's out, and then 2 weeks later they go to the Lakers and they trade Randall there? Like, do you see a scenario in the same offseason where both your fours, after we just talked about that being a logjam, now you're actually looking for one?
No.
So that's why I'm thinking if Obi goes, then I'm not saying it guarantees, but I think it's very likely that you would think Randall at least stays here half a season.
Well, look, I would just say this. Decision. I think the logjam has to get cleared up. It's been a problem since a kid got here. It's going to continue to be a problem. It's never going to get better. They just brought Hartenstein in here. He's going to get guaranteed minutes. It's never going to improve. So when everybody's like, oh, CP, you're Obi hater, it's never going to improve when the two guys are still here. So trading him, it's the easier trade to make. It's a rookie contract. And if you're talking about trading him to get Donovan Mitchell in here, you have to do it. That's a no-brainer, right? Now, I think you're also right. I think of the non-RJ players, putting in an OB and maybe even IQ, you would hope that would lessen the amount of unprotected picks maybe by one that you have to put in the deal. So they're going to have to weigh their options there. From what Berman's saying, doesn't really matter to them. So...
And how about this tampering investigation?
Well, I would hope that doesn't cost a first. I hope that doesn't. I don't think that
would cost a first. I think this tampering situation for the Knicks is like, it's so hard to even prove. You got his dad on the team. You're talking about like Godfather, like all these type of like relations. That's so hard to prove. It's like, I was at a family function. He was there. What do you want me to do? Not be there? That'd be crazy.
You got to clear the logjam, man. You got to clear it. Got to clear it. Somehow. Unless you can get Randall to the Lakers to get that pick.
Which could happen because this LeBron extension to me, they talked about the Lakers being reluctant to give up multiple picks, thinking about, what if this experiment ends soon and then they need some assets to rebuild. But now with LeBron for 2 more years, you would think Lakers, you got to try to win now. And they don't have much right now to even improve the roster. And a player like Julius Randle, even with Anthony Davis there, I think the Lakers are in a situation where they're just trying to just add players, to just trying to add talent, even if it doesn't necessarily fit. Randle does have experience playing with Anthony Davis. And then you also have the Anthony Davis injury risk potential. But I think if they go as far as trading Obi, from a business standpoint, the Knicks may just be forced to try to see if this works with Randall.
Got to.
And see. And I also think that tells you that, unfortunately, Randall doesn't have much value right now. And if it gets to a point, because there's 2 different situations here. There's one situation where you say, I can get rid of Randall, and that's it. That's actually a decision to make. You can do that even if you don't get value, but you didn't hurt yourself. I think what could be the situation right now is that the Knicks would actually have to add an asset to get rid of Randall. And that is what Leon doesn't want to do. You've already had to give up a bunch of seconds to get rid of some of these other players. You look at it, that's a bonus deal. Leon, there's some people that even think in some respects, Randall is a better player than Sabonis. And look what Sabonis netted, unfortunate part of the business.
No question about it. Let me hit a reset real quick. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. 2,400 people in the chat, man. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the share button. This is Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. Now, you know what, fellas? We are nearing the end of the summer, and that means back to school time. And today's episode is sponsored by our friends at Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. It's back to school time, and we want to make sure you pack the essentials to have the best year yet. The Manscaped 4th Generation Performance Package is just that. Be ready for whatever's in your daily schedule this year. It's the perfect package for your package and includes the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Fellas, as I said, go for the valedictorian of ball trimming. Get it? Valedictorian school. And join 6 million men worldwide who trusted Manscaped by going to manscaped.com, enter promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. And no testimonials. Just remember that. No testimonials, fellas. All right? Some new bars, man. Valedictorian. Valedictorian, all right? Valedictorian. Go ahead and get that Lawnmower 4.0. Manscaped.com, promo code KFTV. 20% off plus free shipping. Al, you were saying.
Yeah, I was just gonna say to add on, like it'd be to the Lakers' benefit to get into a 3-team deal with the Knicks and the Jazz. Like you talk about having Mike Conley that they could try to pry from them, Jordan Clarkson if they want to get him back. We talk about Julius Randle potentially going back to the Lakers. They got also Pat Beverly. They got a lot of guys that if the Lakers actually got involved, they could just reshape the roster and actually have a competitive team. Can you imagine getting like Jordan Clarkson and Mike Conley on that team and moving off some of the guys that they have? Like you're talking about like a legitimate point guard playing next to LeBron James. Like, sure, Mike Conley's getting up there in age, but I think that's better for him than playing with someone like Russell Westbrook, who doesn't really fit, with that system. You talk about getting Jordan Clarkson coming back off the being a 6-man for that team where you need some instant scoring. I think it makes every sense for the Lakers to try to get into this deal, and it wouldn't surprise me if they should just take Julius Randle back in the deal just so they can improve this team. Like it doesn't necessarily make sense for Julius Randle to go to the Lakers, but I think for the Lakers as a business standpoint, if you're talking about you got LeBron James for another 2 seasons, as you pointed out,
Gotta do something.
You got to do something, man. So if I'm the Lakers, I'm calling to see, hey, can I get in on this 3-team deal? I want to get some of the players from the Utah Jazz if they're tearing it all down because we need to compete.
I got the perfect deal, man. Rose, Randall, give us Westbrook. Not to play here. Let me make that clear. Not to play here.
Yeah.
Give us Westbrook for the contract.
Absolutely.
And give us, you push for 2 picks. You may only get 1, but at this point, it is what it is. I think that's the deal that you make. And you try to make that happen. But, I don't know. There's the whole Rose relationship with the Knicks. Even in a contract, that would be attractive. And I think Rose, especially if Rose starts the season with the Knicks, I think he'll play well, being that, at that point, you're evaluating Rose with a lot of rest and the off season and time. Remember, there was an opportunity for him to get back last season. And supposedly, I thought the Knicks just shut him down, but he could have played last season. So maybe Rose comes back and continues to play well and has a second rodeo with LeBron. I think he would be a great fit there because if you're looking at the Lakers, what else you're going to get for Westbrook?
Yeah. Yeah, no question.
You're not going to get, if you really look at the Lakers, you say, okay, we have an opportunity to actually get Rose. That's a closing, that's a play you can have on a closing lineup. And then you have Julius as an insurance policy, gives you opportunity to play different lineups with LeBron. Julius with LeBron, you would think that will help him, play better. Man, and then you got the mellow factor. There's so much that is left to be known.
It's a lot.
And we have a month to go.
A lot of unknowns. If you guys are new in the chat, leave us a hashtag new. We'll shout you guys out. Let's go rapid fire phones. Baus on the Discord. Baus, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey guys, what's going on?
How you doing, man? What's your name? Where you calling in from?
My name's Elvin, man. I'm calling from Australia. So I just want to say a big shout out to you guys. Been watching you guys for a long time. It's good to see you guys give us, consistent quality content when it comes.
Appreciate it, bro.
When it comes to the Knicks. So I just wanted to say, if it's me and they want 4 picks, I reckon just give them the 4 picks, because at the end of the day, like, Donovan wants to come to New York, and yeah, everyone wants to get the deal done. So I mean, if 3 picks not going to cut it, as long as it's not 5 or 6 picks, I think I don't see a problem with 4 picks.
Wow.
And,
so you go 23, 25. 27 and 29. Oof.
Plus the other protected. That's like 7 picks.
Oof. It's tough. That's a tough one, man.
But what do you guys think? Like 3, I don't think 3 picks is going to get it done. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you got to give them 4.
Yeah. That's a hard thing to do, man. I mean,
like you said, man, like, you got to pay to play. So
yeah.
Like, if he wants to come home and he wants to play in New York, and obviously the Knicks want to get the deal done, like, what else are you going to do with these picks? Like, you got to make a move sometime. So you can't just keep sitting on assets. Like, you got to make a move.
CP 2.0 there.
No,
I did not pay this man for his endorsement. I appreciate the call, man. Hey, he's putting all his chips on the table. Okay.
He's ready.
All right.
But you see how you see some fans that are like, yo, let's go. Let's get it done. That's what Ainge's hoping the Knicks front office does. That's why you stall this much. You hope that the fan base puts pressure. There's no bigger market, and there's no, the front office definitely hears the Knicks. You have players and spaces, you have all these things. You have KnicksFanTV. You have so much, and this is part of the in the Let's see what happens.
No question, man. No question. Let me catch up on some super chats. I one of my screens went down, so I couldn't see all the super chats that went in. Let's see. AGW sends a $5 super chat, says Pat Riley is a wizard. He got Jimmy Butler for practically nothing. The Knicks should not be desperate, but don't be overconfident either. That's just my point. Don't be overconfident. I understand Miami's at a disadvantage, but like I said, don't sleep. Amid Belfort, $10 super chat says Danny Ainge is due to catch that L. Leon Rose got all his chess pieces in order. Just play the patient game well. Shout out to Eddie Marr. He says, do you think we can keep Obi? And if not, is Melo next? I think it's 50-50 whether Obi goes in the deal or not. And if he does, I don't see Melo's got no team right now. So I don't see why Melo wouldn't be an option, because you got to figure you're going to be losing at least 3 rotational pieces or 3 roster spots. You already got 2 free spots right now, right? And so you're looking at 3 potential losses in this trade. So I wouldn't be surprised if Melo came if they did get Spida Mitchell.
I would think that maybe this is just me personally. I thought Melo would probably be a better fit if you traded Randall and kept Obi. Because you can make, there could actually be a case there for needing veteran experience, needing some insurance policy, needing an additional shooter. Like, those things we can talk in terms of basketball fit. Mm-hmm. But if you get rid of Obi and you stay with Randall, now you're bringing in Melo. I mean, you talk about getting slower and slower and getting worse and worse and worse defensively. I mean, you just continuing to add just these different fits.
Yeah,
I would think it would be. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised the Knicks did it, but I would probably be surprised that they would too, because the fit would be questionable to me.
I think
want to get more athletic.
Yeah, I hear that, but it's like, who else would be left at this point? Melo out there on the unemployment line, man. He's out there with Brickley and them looking for a job.
Yeah, you're gonna need somebody at the 4 to come off to like give Randall a rest. And if it's not gonna be Obi, if he's in the deal, I'm fine with bringing Melo back. Bring Melo. If one of them goes, bring Melo home.
If
you already know
that's my thing is if
you already know where I stand with this. Bring Melo home.
Melo have a job. Melo's situation to me is that player, and we see it every time, right? We see the championship caliber teams. They start the season, They wait until until midseason, and then you wait for the waiver wires, you wait for the release players, the guys that get bought out, and then that's where his market comes, where then a team that's contending got a chance to evaluate their bench, and then they may look at Melo as a piece. I think that's where his market is. I don't know that he's gone this far. I don't know if he'll be on a roster by opening night, but he might. There's still a lot of moves to be made in the offseason.
A lot of moves. Shout out to Deshaun Clark, team #new. Solos Way 9, team #new. Welcome to the program, fellas. Definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. All right, back to the phones we go. We'll take a couple more and then wrap up. Let's go to xmadman on the Discord. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
G'day, boys. What's happening?
Oh, we got another Aussie in the building?
The hive is growing. The
Aussie hive is growing, man. Salute to the land down under, man. What's going on?
Man, I got a quick thing I want to let you know first off.
Yeah.
So I was walking around in the supermarket maybe a week ago, and there was this guy wearing a KnicksFanTV flat cap just walking around with his wife, and I was going to dap him up. But I was dressed, like a roadman, so I didn't want to scare him. But I was like, man, the outreach is growing.
Hey, we out there, man. That might be my guy. Did he have a dog with him? No, you were in the supermarket, right?
It was supermarket. So he was with his wife and his kid. Yeah. And I was with my missus, and I was like, man, that guy's got good taste right there.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Where in Australia are you?
So I'm in Sydney. So, there's definitely, the basketball movement is definitely growing a lot more in Sydney and in Australia as a whole. But, yeah, that was, the first time I've been like, wow, the outreach is growing, CP.
Let's go, man. Definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely. But, yeah, to this point, I think the Knicks need to be patient. They need to wait out the storm. I think later down the track, Danny Ainge, realistically, he's, best in the business. But I think that the Knicks, if they can just hold on, worst comes to worst, we don't get Donovan Mitchell. But, I like the squad that we've got now. And in your personal opinion, even if we get Donovan Mitchell and we have to pay, a lot, how many more wins realistically are we going to get out of him?
Yeah. I said for this year, and again, it all depends on who goes out. But I said this year, 47. That's what I said.
I thought you were with JD on the 50 train.
That's close enough, man. I'm just
being conservative.
I'm being conservative. Did I say 50? Wait. Did I say 50? I didn't say 50.
Yes.
I did?
Yes.
You were like, no doubt.
You're like, 50, it has to be 50 wins.
Damn, I must have been feeling good that day. I said 50?
Yeah.
Well, 47 is close enough. Didn't I say 50?
I'm gonna send you the video.
I said 48. I was the only guy who was like 48.
The only guy on the show that said under 50 was Alex.
I couldn't have gone that far over 50. I wasn't wilding like
52. No, you said 52, my man.
I did?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, well, I'm 5 games off. All right, so today's a down day for me, man. Today's an off night for me, man. I'm within 5. That's a respectable number. I'm within 5.
Oh, so y'all leaving me alone again. Another season. I'm at the grill by myself. Y'all just want to see me get cooked again. All right. CP. I'm not,
All right, you know what? All right, I'll go 50, man.
You don't think? Hold on.
I'll go 50.
Hold on. You just gave a point guard $100 million.
Wow.
You're about to pay your third overall pick probably another $100 million.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know how many after that, but at least it's probably going to reach at least 100. And then now you're going to give up multiple picks, a young player or two. Your core is right there. Those 3 players, that's your core. And you can't win 50 games? Would that be considered a big disappointment?
Listen, man, it all depends on if they keep Grimes, we got 52. No, I'm playing. I'm playing.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Look, all I'm saying is fit chemistry. We got to crawl before we can walk, man. 47, 50. That's within a nice
expectations
ballpark.
are
It's
low
right
around
there. I'm within range. I'm not extremely off.
Thank God for TM, because TM had the predictions lined up for us. So here we go. We're gonna read them off.
All right, what'd I say?
Okay, so for JD, wow, Team even put the date 6/26/22.
Yeah, he don't miss. He don't miss.
JD 52 with Spida, 50 without with Randall. CP 51 with Spida,
51,
42 without. Alex 48
right
with Spida, 42 without.
So I was on my 42 was my Brunson thing, which I've been consistent. I said that tonight with Berman, 42.
Yes.
All right, so I
So
said
Donovan
51.
Mitchell gets us 5 more wins.
Listen, man.
A guy that had a number 1 seed in the West, and you can make the case. I mean, if you want to compare that Jazz roster to this Knicks roster, how many? I mean, Rudy Gobert is your number 2 guy. He's not even an offensive guy, and you just gave Mitch a deal to be close.
I just gave you a range. 47 to 51.
And I'm saying you might be right? And this is not a conversation to say what the Knicks will be or not. I'm talking about from a big picture standpoint, an organizational standpoint, a front office standpoint, an expectation standpoint. You do all this and you can't crack 50 wins?
Gosh. Gotta see how the pieces of the puzzle fit,
East
man.
is tough, man. East is
For
tough.
all that, just stay with the kids and keep building. That's how I see it.
We got to see how the
You
pieces
gonna
of the
make
puzzle
this
fit,
move
man.
and we can't crack 50. You might as well just keep going with the kids and keep drafting and keep building.
Nah,
Yeah,
no. I'm not with that. You still make the move
I'm
for
just
Donovan
saying,
Mitchell. No, you still got to make the move, my man. Come on, you got to make the move. You got to still get top talent in here that's going to keep you competitive. Who knows? Maybe something does break their way. I think the safe route to say is 47, 48 wins. I'm going to stick with 48 because that's what I said. I'm going to stick with 48 wins just because I think you add that team. You look at everyone you still got the Bucks, you still got the Sixers, you still got all these other teams in the East that you got to compete with. The top 4 is not changing. Like Miami, I think Miami's still going to be a good team that you got to compete with this coming season as well. There's just teams that you just cannot, and Boston as well. That's 4 teams right there. That's the top 4. If we get into the top 5, top 6, we're hitting on all cylinders. I think Berman pointed out correctly that this team is going to take time to gel. If you're gonna insert Donovan Mitchell this season with RJ, Randall, and Jalen, who all haven't played together, it's going to take some time for them to gel. That's why I think 48 is like the most reasonable, because I think they would hit their stride later in the season and they start racking up wins. The one thing, if we actually touch on the schedule, I think it's evened out where they can actually go on those type of runs later in the season, rather than the beginning of the season where you still got some tough teams to take on.
Better be close to 50 if you're not going to get 50 next season if they get Mitchell. That's all I'm saying.
Good takes. All right, let me couple more before we wrap. Let's go to Ari. Ari in the building. Ari, what's good?
Yo, what's up, guys? You guys hear me all right?
Yep, loud and clear. What's good?
Not much, man. Good takes, all you guys. Good show. Great show. First of all, salute to the first Australian guy. I love that we have people in Australia, but not everyone wants to make this deal happen. I understand why people want to make the deal, but listen, I know you have to pay to play, but I don't see what the problem of waiting till 2023, 2024 to pay then, when you know what kind of talent you really have on this team, because you're assuming that the young guys would play. We don't even know what we have in these young guys, right? We don't know, and that's why Thibs was such a criminal last year, is because we could have figured out and known what kind of talent we had, and now we don't, right? Yeah, so that's a big problem, right? And listen, to JD's point, great point. The only competition the Knicks have for Spida Mitchell is thirsty Spida groupie Knicks fans that just want to throw the kitchen sink and just bring them in here. Everyone wants it to happen. These people think with their emotions. They're not thinking logically. Look at the argument you just laid out. If you're not going to even get 50 wins with Spida Mitchell, you're going to mortgage your entire future for 50 wins.
No way,
and
we didn't say that.
The last.
You're gonna make a reasonable trade.
Say it again?
I said you're gonna make a reasonable trade. Nobody said you're gonna mortgage your entire future. You're gonna make a trade that works for you to bring in a good player.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, exactly. At the right price. So, like, personally, I would if that Obi Toppin and 5 picks is not enough, then I don't want Donovan Mitchell. Again, I don't know who we're negotiating against. We have all the leverage. The worst comes to worst, we could run the young guys, boost their trade value, see what we have in them, and then make a move at the deadline, later on at the next offseason, the offseason after that. There's no reason to rush. And the last argument I'll make is that all of the teams that traded 5, 6 draft picks to bring in a guy, it was Paul George, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James joining LeBron James, Paul George joining Kawhi, Harden joining KD and Kyrie. So when they made those trades, they were instant championship contenders right off the bat. They did not have to figure it out after they mortgaged their future. I'm not trying to mortgage my future to just try to figure it out afterwards to be a 6 seed.
Right.
It's ridiculous. It's not worth it. I don't know why we're rushing this. We have all the leverage. If it's a deal that we want to make and it's a good price, then we'll make it. But why are people saying we need to trade 5 first-round picks, 4 unprotected picks, 6 first-round picks? I don't know why we're saying that, right? I just don't understand it.
Okay.
So that's my take, man. And the last thing is also no one's untouchable. Like, as much as we love RJ and as much as we love, all these guys, the only people that are untouchable in the NBA are like Giannis, Steph, Luka, and Jokic. After that, everyone's movable, right? So, and that's the last thing I'll say is this: props to Leon Rose, because everyone calls me toxic and that I always hate on the front office. I'm going to give Leon Rose credit right now. Props to Leon Rose. He's not being a thirsty fanboy, tossing 6 first-round picks like it's no big deal just to make the first or second round of the playoffs. Good for him. Good for you, Leon. Stick to your guns and you'll get a better deal, or you just keep on building for the future. So props to the front office. And Thank you, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
Appreciate the call, man. What do you guys think in the chat, man? Rate that call in the chat. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. Ari from Manhattan weighing in, as he usually does, man. Rate that call. All right, we're going to keep going with the phones, man. Keep going rapid fire. It's getting late. Let's go to Knicks Take Jake on the Discord. Knicks Take Jake. Go ahead.
Yo, what's up, guys? That last call, Ari, trash.
Ooh,
I'm sorry.
you giving it a 1. You giving it a 1.
I'm just kidding. Me and Ari chopped it up on the Twitter Spaces.
No doubt.
So had to shout him out.
No doubt.
So I'll be quick. I know y'all are trying to get out of here, but really I got 2 points. One on the RJ situation. I'm of the belief that the success of this team is contingent on RJ Barrett. And I think that goes for if we get Donovan Mitchell or not. In this league, you need 2 to 3 All-Stars to be relevant. If he doesn't pan out, I think the Knicks are in for bigger problems than missing out on Donovan Mitchell.
I agree with that.
Me personally, I think he will pan out. But if the front office is this scared and timid, what Berman was saying about his development, I don't know. Maybe he is part of the talks, more than we think. I don't know, obviously, but I think it's in the best interest of the Knicks to be relevant. If Donovan, if RJ Barrett is that guy, it's just too expensive to go get Mitchell and then have to add 1 or 2 more guys on top of that. And then my second point, JD, I'm with you on the Knicks having leverage in this situation. I'll tell you one reason why that I haven't really heard anybody discuss this yet. Donovan Mitchell's contract. Right now, he's the 37th highest paid player in the NBA. I think he has been outperforming that contract. Now, I think the only scenario in which the Jazz go into the season and they don't have a deal, they're gonna have to talk to Mitchell and say, look, we're trying to tank. This is the situation where you are you cool with sitting? I don't think he's gonna be cool with that at all. I think that he's maybe 1 or 2 more years on this contract, he's gonna want to get paid after that. Even if he sits out half a season and then he has to pick it up on another team, build chemistry. That's a whole season that he's going to have to toss away. And then he's basically playing for his next contract in 1 year. I don't think that is in the best interest of him. Everybody's been saying Donovan Mitchell has been really, cool with this whole trade talk situation. I think as soon as Danny Ainge pushes this too far, he's going to request a trade. That's just my opinion. I think that it's in the best interest of the Utah Jazz to have Donovan Mitchell off of this team by the time training camp and obviously the regular season rolls around. Those are my takes.
Appreciate the call, man. Definitely appreciate the call.
Rapid fire.
Yeah. And I agree with him in that it's not to say that, RJ has to be a star here with Mitchell. He has to be a reliable option of a competing, contending team, right? He has
Can
to
he
be
be Jaylen Brown?
Say that again?
Can he become Jaylen Brown? Can he be that secondary piece to Donovan Mitchell? And Jalen Brunson is just that nice, player that balances it out. Maybe Jalen Brunson not even here by then.
I think he can. He's just got to fine tune a couple of things. I think he can. I think he can.
Yeah, I think he has that potential in him.
Yeah.
I don't see why I can't. I think he has the work ethic to reach that type of ceiling. I think that would be his ceiling. I think he has that work ethic to get there, but we just have to see it be more consistent, like pulling mid-range jumpers, being more consistent.
He's going to have to be more. You bring Mitchell in here, he's going to have to be more efficient.
Yeah, so I think he can, but just got to improve his game.
No question about it. All right, we'll take two more and then wrap. Let's go to JJ from BK. JJ back in the building. What's going on?
Yo, what's good, my dudes? How you guys doing, man?
How you feeling?
How's
man?
everything, fellas?
Good.
Feeling good, man. Feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I just wanted to say, if we, in the nightmare scenario in most Knicks fans' eyes, if we did move RJ in the steal, which I don't think we will, what I don't get is who would be our starting small forward? Because if we're going to have Mitchell and Brunson, both 6'1", we know Thibs loves Grimes. You can't tell me Grimes is going to be our starting three at 6'4". That will be the smallest 1 through 3 in the history of the NBA. Like, there's no way we could rock with that. I don't think he would start Cam at the 3 because
Cam Reddish.
I just don't think Cam.
It would be Cam, man. It would be Cam.
Start 2 6'1" guards and then a 6'4".
Nah, you putting Cam in there. You putting Cam in there, bro.
I guess, right?
What do you mean? You guess he's on the roster? He's the next man up. It's Cam, definitely.
Yeah.
You got no other options.
I mean, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. But do you think Thibs would rock with Cam? Do you think he really likes Cam that much?
Well, he would have no choice. It's either that or you bring in Ferron Hunt in the mix. It's Cam, man. It's definitely Cam, bro.
Or Melo.
Yeah, or Melo, man. Appreciate the call, man.
And then my last point real quick.
Go ahead.
If I could, cool, thanks. I just want to say Spike Lee and, Stephen A., I'm sorry, but they do not speak for Knicks fans. They never have and they never will. They're both frauds. Spike at the Barclays, jumping up and down, room for the Nets in the playoffs. That's not a real Knicks fan. Stephen A., every chance he gets on ESPN, bashing the Knicks, making the Knicks look bad. You know who the real Knicks fans are? KnicksFanTV, CP, Alex, JD, all the great callers, Ari, Papa Left, Chuck D, my guys Junior Caroma, John Talento, TM. These are the real Knicks fans, man. No, I'm sorry, but those two, they're not real Knicks fans. I'm sorry. Appreciate it, man. You guys have a good one, all right?
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks.
It's JJ on the check-in. Let me take two more real quick. Rocky Taylor. Rocky, what's going on, man?
Yes, sir. Hey, I've been listening to y'all for a long time.
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
I've been listening to y'all a long time.
Yeah, man. You comment on every video, man. I had to make sure we got you in before we get up out of here, man.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. In my view, I'm just looking at how other teams are doing that have been successful. The kind of move they're making where they're pushing all the chips to the table is teams that are usually moves that teams that are on the verge of winning a ship or can't get through the conference finals make. Like, think of Toronto when they made that move, to get Kawhi. Think of how Golden State, when they lost to LeBron, they went and got KD. Even look at who's in this. Who else is looking at Durant and who's looking at Donovan Mitchell? Miami, right? Who went to a finals and couldn't win, and they went to a conference finals and just missed going to the finals. And Boston, they couldn't win it, and they couldn't to the finals. That's when you make that kind of move. Yeah. The only way you make that kind of move is if you're willing, if that move will put you in position to be contention. That's the only way the Knicks should do it.
No question.
If you make that kind of move for Durant, You don't make that move for Donovan Mitchell.
Good point. And appreciate the call. And I think that that's why the Knicks are kind of standing firm in terms of what they're willing to give up so far. Because as you said, you don't want to put all your chips on the table for a good player, a great player, but not a superstar, not a guy that you could put your whole franchise on his back and he's gonna carry you there, because you still need one or two more pieces to be formidable. All right, closer of the night, Hector from Harlem. Hector, man, you're the new closer for the night, man. What's going on?
Hold up. Get your last thumbs up for the only voice of the orange and blue.
Let's go.
CP with the backcourt of JD and Alex. I got to close out for y'all real quick, bro. Yo, real quick, CP. Whoever said Joey Frank Stan Chestnut was the greatest athlete in New York City, the last decade, is bugging out. Enough of him.
Who's your pick?
We gonna keep it going.
You going DeGrom?
Oh, well, I'm a huge baseball nerd.
Yeah.
I got to go with DeGrom, I'm not going to lie, and I'm a diehard Yankees fan. So
yeah, that's
all
fair.
due respect.
That's fair.
Yeah, for real.
That's fair. I was just being
For
a hater.
real.
I could agree.
It ain't Garrett Cole, I tell you that.
Yeah, it ain't Garrett Cole. It ain't Garrett Cole.
Not at all.
JD,
No, sir.
you're not lying with that one, boy. For real.
Yeah.
But I know y'all got to get out of here, bro. JD, bro, you were making some great points. What you want in this scenario going on is you want Danny Ainge to basically feel like the dam is breaking within him. Pause. You want him to feel as though he can't control the outcome of the deal. Obviously, we know his tenure throughout his presidency and his historic career. He fleeces teams, all that. But this has nothing to do with that. We know and we've seen supposedly the proposals that have been going on. So here's what I want y'all to do, all three of y'all. Before y'all close out, I want to see what you guys think are going to be the final trade proposals when it's all said and done, if it is going to get done. For me, before I close out, I think this is being realistic. I think this is going to be the final trade proposal. I think it's going to be, like CP said, Evan Fournier starting out the deal, Obi Toppin, then Emmanuel Quickly, 3 unprotected first-round picks, and a pick swap. But because we add in Emmanuel Quickly, we get Donovan and Jordan Clarkson. Now, I know that's a stretch, but I think that this could happen. That's just a proposal. I want to hear what y'all think. Okay. Thank you, CP, for letting me close out, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. As far as Clarkson, we would have to look at the numbers, look at the salaries and stuff to see how that matches up. But it still is interesting to see what would be the larger pieces to a deal. But I did say the other night, Fournier, IQ, Obi. I tried to sneak in both 2023 picks to 2025. And then, you may have to put in, you're probably going to have to put in 2 or 3 more protecteds. Hopefully not unprotected. So I'm saying Fournier, IQ, Obi. I give the Dallas pick in 2023, the Knicks pick in 2023. 2025 unprotected, and then try to give him 2 or 3 protecteds.
That's your offer to get Donovan Mitchell?
No, don't. Yep. Wait, you say how many unprotected?
3.
Okay.
Yeah. 3 unprotected, 3 protected. Fournier,
so
IQ,
six picks, 3 protected, 3 unprotected. Fournier, who else?
IQ, Obi.
It must be killing you too to say Fournier because I know you want him. You want him.
Hey, we need the shooting, man. We got to be the New York Bricks next year. We get rid of Fournier. He's out in France killing it. He's got no pressure. He's in front of the people that appreciate him, and he's out there killing right now for his countrymen. I don't even want to ask him to come back on the show this season. I'm not sure I'll get a response, man.
There's a guy here that say he'll trade him for 2 second-round picks. With that being said, man. I think the trade is going to come down to. I think it's going to go to up to 3 unprotected. At this point, I don't even know if they care about the protected ones. So you might go 2 or 3 protected. I think it will be 6 picks because again. What they usually report to me says that they're close, but it's not going to be the end deal. So I think a pick will be added to today's report, and then it stays just like that with Obi, Fournier. And I said, because of that framework, I think Deuce is the guy that goes to make the salary work.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to include Cam, this is actually the only scenario. If you're not going to include Cam, and you have Obi with Fournier, it only could be Deuce or IQ, and I don't think IQ would be that player. So I think it's Deuce, Obi, Fournier, 6 picks, 3 unprotected, or it's going to be Fournier, Obi, Grimes, and then the 3 unprotecteds. So from this framework, it's either going to be a player and an unprotected, or it's going to be two more unprotected picks.
Okay.
I agree with JD. I think it's going to come down to 3 picks, because it seems like I think the Knicks are going to keep in mind that they want to keep Grimes because Thibs likes Grimes. So I'm going to think that they're going to be willing to give up more draft capital. So I would say, yes, I'd say 3 unprotected, 3 protected. It's going to be Obi because we already know that. Fournier, McBride. I kind of agree with what JD has. I think it's going to go along. I don't think they're going to have to give up that many players if they're going to give up 3 unprotected picks, fully unprotected. So,
okay.
I just don't see the need to give up, like you said, IQ and Obi.
Yeah.
The front office just said that they were excited about it, according to Berman's article.
Listen, man.
They like the front seven.
Listen, man. CP's desperate.
Built
He's
the
desperate.
team. They built the organization for this kid, man. This is their crown jewel. All you people in the chat, oh, you guys are desperate. You guys are desperate. Like you guys have seen winning with this team. We don't win. We don't get anybody, man.
Oh, my
All you
God.
people, you snobs in the chat, man. But like, you know, like we've been drinking top shelf champagne all this time. All right? We're drinking Aristocrat, man. The plastic bottle.
You know what? Just for that, Obi comes out, Grimes is going in. So there's gonna be 48 Grimes, and the 6 picks and Deuce. All right.
Hey, Berman said the Knicks don't really care about the young players, and if they really don't care, if it's Grimes, then I think if there's any reason why Obi is even considered here is because they may not see a solution to this Obi Randall thing. So they may be thinking, you know what? Let's just put Obi in the deal and let's save Grimes and Cam for defense, which I don't know. I don't know if I want to give up Obi in this deal.
Well, we'll see.
I know where CP lies though.
Listen, I'm with whatever's good for the team. If they can get rid of Julius tomorrow in a Laker deal to get the extra pick, that would be the best bet for me. You get the extra pick. You don't have to give up as many of your own picks. You get OB into the deal. He fits better with Mitchell. You can play faster. I would prefer that. I would prefer that. I
got a 3-team deal if you want to hear it, to include the Lakers if you want to hear that deal.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So Knicks obviously get Mitchell. Jazz get Westbrook, Fournier, Grimes, and they get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They get 5 picks, 5 first-round picks from the Knicks. They also get the Lakers pick, and the Lakers get Connolly, Clarkson, and Cam Reddish.
And the Knicks will give up what again?
Knicks give up Fournier, Grimes, and 5. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4? Yeah, 5 picks.
We only get Mitchell.
Yeah, we only get Mitchell on that deal.
So so would the Knicks be getting an extra pick from the Lakers in that deal?
Nope, they don't get the pick. Yeah. That pick goes to the Jazz.
To the Jazz.
Yeah.
5 picks.
Look, CP tight.
I mean, you know.
CP don't want to give up Grimes or Fournier.
I mean, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be a lot of bricks. A whole lot of bricks, man. Whole lot of bricks.
I mean, you could throw Obi in that equation. You could just pull out Grimes, throw in Obi. It's the same. The money wouldn't make that much of a difference.
Yeah. I hear you. Great show, fellas. Great show. Everybody in the chat. Salute to TM. Salute to Chuck D. Great show. All the mods in here. Definitely appreciate everybody for tapping in. I had a great show, man. We had over like 2,500 people, man, in here tapping in off-season. Slow news week. It's some dog days of August, but we are basically a month away from the start of the season, man. Let me salute the super chats that have come in. Shout out to Russell Reed. He says, so Obi was watching the Knicks' new schedule commercial from his new crib in Utah. Paul Quick says, trade turns us into the Wizards with Beal. Pass. Tom from Huntington. Shout out my guy Tom from Huntington. $20 super chat. Says, great show, gentlemen. Shout out to the valedictorian, Manscaped. He got the valedictorian joke. He definitely got it. Shout out to Tom. Nick Scar says, schematically, how does Randall score in the Knicks drive and dish offense with a ball-dominant guard like Brunson and maybe Spida too? Is he corner boy Randall? Well, I think that's one of the questions, right? When you bring in, another ball-dominant guy on top of Brunson who's going to dominate the ball, how does Julius fit in? Time will tell if he's part of that. I got AGW. I got who else we got here? Amid Belfort. I got that one. Appreciate it. Civil Analytics. Got that one. Eric Ward. Got that one. Jay Boogie, $20 super chat says, my question to the panel since Mark is gone, are you paying RJ $27 per year to be the fourth option behind Donovan, Julius, and Jalen? And if not, why are you not including him in the trade? So let's say that 27 a year.
27 times 5 is 135.
Yeah.
I think.
Let's do the math. Anybody in school? Anybody?
I believe
That's
so.
that's 100. I mean, that he'd be getting way more than that. He'd be getting way more. The max is 5,193. He's getting way more. He'd be getting way more than that. I think he'll get about.
I don't think he'll be the
90
fourth option.
seconds.
Right.
I don't think he'll be the fourth option.
Me neither. Because I just don't see them keeping all four of those guys. I think Julius would be the odd man out. I mean, if Julius is here, I think it's between RJ and Brunson, man.
We're gonna have a Golden State situation. We got 4 players with so much money,
right?
All in the starting lineup. I just don't see that happening.
Right.
Just don't see that as a long term. I mean, that specific core.
Yeah.
Which means somebody has to go.
I think it would be Julius, man.
Yeah, it's got to be Julius.
I think it would be Ju. Mr. Knicks 101 says, fire interview with Berman. I can't wait to see Mitchell in a Knicks jersey, happy where the team is going. Okay, definitely appreciate that. And if I did miss any other ones, I'm using a different system to read the chats. So I hope I did catch everything. But if not, definitely appreciate everybody for tapping in. And stay tuned, man. The Spider Watch continues, and we'll continue with another episode of Knicks Weekly next week. Make sure you guys are tapping in with us. Manscaped.com, promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. Remember that these shows are available in audio podcast format as well. So if you missed it on video, you can always catch it in audio podcast format. You typically a couple hours after the show goes off the air. So make sure you tap in with us. Leave some comments, man. What you guys think about the Berman article? What you guys think about, some of the trade proposals that were discussed on tonight's show? Leave us some comments, and we will reply back later on, man. Fellas, great show.